So normally on a Sunday, like there'd be a bunch of kids up here, and I'd say good morning, and they'd say good morning back. Maybe with a few people here, and maybe with you at home, you can kind of pretend to do this. Ready? Good morning. I don't know if everyone could hear that through my mic. That was about 35%. Like we need to make up for some people who are physically not in this space. Good morning. That's great. So this is obviously a little bit different than normal, but what I want to reflect on that very idea of identity. It's something that I'm going to be talking about in the message a few minutes from now. But on the screen you'll see a picture of a young woman in the movie called Overcomer that I'll talk about. It's a young woman by the name of Hannah Scott, and she's a young cross-country runner in high school, and the movie is really about identity. And identity is kind of one of those things, it's like hard to know what it is. So identity is really who we are on the inside, way deep down within us. And it's important for us to know who we are because in our world and different things that people say, there's a whole bunch of messages that are coming at us about our identity and who we are. So it can be kind of confusing. So we need to know who we are if we're going to live in a way that honors God. And in order for us to live in a way to do the things that God wants us to do, right? If we're confused about our identity, about who we are, we're going to be a bit messed up in our thinking about that. So one of the ways that we can think about identity is this. It's like, how would we describe ourselves to a new friend, to someone we're meeting maybe for the first time? And so if you've ever been in that situation before, sometimes what we want to do is we want to say the stuff that we like or stuff about our lives. So, for example, we might say things that interest us. So we might say something about hockey. I play hockey. That's something about our identity perhaps. Or another sport. It could be something else. And I've got here a Maple Leafs jersey, of course, the best team in the NHL. And, of all times for the season to get postponed, 2020 is the year. And anyway, so I'm assuming everyone agrees with that fact. But anyway, so... Might be some dissenting voices in the back. Anyway, so maybe identity is a hobby that we do, right? Maybe we think our identity is wrapped up, who we are wrapped up in who our friends are. So who are my friends? What do my friends say about me? Who are my friends? How popular am I? And so I picked up a high school yearbook from Bracebridge and Muskoka Lake Secondary School and opened it up and think, maybe, my friends. Maybe what my friends say about me and how many friends I have, maybe that's a sense of your identity, maybe, Maybe some people think maybe my identity has to do with where I'm from. So maybe from Canada, from America, from some other place. That's what my identity is really all about. But the problem with too closely thinking your identity, who you are, is those things, is that all that stuff can change. Right? So maybe your hobbies change, and maybe your interests change. Maybe your friends are changing, and they're different, and maybe some say certain things one day, and then they change the other day, and maybe you move to a different country. Who knows? All those things change. And so really, identity, we can think about it like this onion. And so I've got an onion here, and originally I thought I was going to peel apart the different layers of the onion, but first of all, I didn't want my eyes watered, and I didn't want people to think I maybe had coronavirus or something, who knows. So also would get me a bit dirty, but I think you get the point. The idea is that all those things can be layers around us, things about our identity, but really who we are is that heart on the inside, right? That's really who we are. And so what we've done here at Westminster, because we are doing things differently via live stream, we've created every week a family devotional resource. And so if you're watching online, either live right now or later the recording, under the live screen page, there'll be a button called Family Resources. And so if you click on that, it will take you to a devotional about identity. And so we realize that it can be difficult for maybe young people to watch, a worship service on YouTube, the whole thing. So this is created. You could do it this morning. You could do it another time. Only a few materials are needed. And it takes you through the passage that I'm going to be talking about in a few moments with the message around identity. And it's something you can do as a family together. So you can find it under the Family Resources button on the website. Also, if you go under blogs, there's also a blog version of that. So we just encourage you to take the time. Even though we physically can't be here, we continue to learn and grow together as disciples of Jesus. Who you are is whose you are. Who you are is whose you are. So the more confidence we have about that, the greater we're able to be God's people in the world and do the things that God wants us to do and not get our sense of worth and value and importance and affirmation from the wrong places. So I encourage you to do that together.